Welcome to this episode of CGTN live stream. I am CGTN's reporter Xinchen here from China's Inner Mongolia. And look behind me, the view that we'll have there. We're seeing China's super grid that is transporting electricity from all around the country to reach households across the country. 1.4 billion people in this country, to just, the numbers. And look at the cloud, the blue sky. But I want to point out, just behind us, look at all these dark clouds. So rain is coming to us. So we need to hurry a little bit, finish this live stream to all our viewers from around the world. So basically this place is called Dakhla Banner in Inner Mongolia's Ordos. It's home to the largest solar farm in desert in the world. Basically, what we can see right over there, these solar panels all installed on the desert, of Kubuqi, the 7th largest desert here in China. And we're going to learn all the charms and secrets behind why China has been building solar farms in desert. So, China, home to with the world's biggest population, is also the world's largest electricity consumer. So basically, it consumes electricity the US, UK, and Japan combined a year, more than that. And China has been gradually phased down its coal-based fire plants in order to really kind of make the environment better and to roll out the initiative to reach carbon peak by 2030 and then reach to achieve carbon neutrality in 2060. And this, the solar panels, is a great leap towards China's big ambitions for its sustainability. For energy crisis around the globe is actually pressing on humanity. And to learn more about this farm, and I need to introduce a guest. So we have Fan Baoquan. He is the man who runs this farm, and from China General Nuclear. So he runs the office to really monitor this side right here. So 范总啊，能简单先给我们介绍一下我们这个现在的光伏基地是什么样的状况啊？我们一边走一边说嘛，我们往下走的。
这个目前就是这一期。目前咱们看到的这一期是1期，那边是2期。
好，
总共这边占地呢是4000多亩，那边也是4000多亩。两头合起来是这个9000多亩。
9000多亩啊。
对，然后是做的这个光伏治沙这个项目。就是咱们这个荒漠化的，你看那边啊，那荒漠化的沙漠，然后治理成这个样子。
好。我来简单先和观众来翻译一下。So basically, I just asked Mr. Fan, who is in charge of monitoring the one part of the solar farms here. So, by the way, this solar base is a joint effort by top Chinese electricity companies like China General Nuclear and a lot other companies. So this the one that we just showed our viewers is the phase 1 solar farm operated by China General Nuclear, and right far away from us we have the second phase, and in together it has like 900 mu. That's a lot of square footage here that we see the solar farms. But I think our viewers can also see on the screen, hopefully, that we can catch the shot. Like far away we can see the desert, little bumps and hills, and that was how this place looked like almost 5 years ago when this base was first initiated back in 2017 and started construction in 2018. It was all just deserted land, deserts. So the solar farm initiative here, first, of course, creating sustainable, clean energy, and then is also to control for the efforts for sand control, for desertifications. 范总啊， 因为讲到了，其实我们现在光伏发电虽然也是治沙的一部分啊，
对。
那我们现在的这个发电量是什么一个情况呢？
发电量这一块儿，咱们是从这个17年开始建设，18年并网，陆陆续续从18年开始并网，累计发电量1期和2期总共是10个亿的电量。
10个亿的电量，
对
，10亿度吗？还是
10亿度
？10亿度，
对。
I'm going to translate it for a little bit. So, because we're seeing a solar farm, and our viewers might just be curious about how much electricity this farm can generate. So, as I have mentioned, the whole construction, the whole base was started back in 2017 and started operating by the end of 2018. And so far, the two phases of the solar farms has altogether produced 1 billion kilowatt hours of electricity. And just put that into perspectives, here in China, for an average household, 3 or 4 people, their annual electricity consumption is about 800 kilowatt hours. So, we're actually going into these solar farms, to see close at those solar farms, but we need to get into our ride for just a little bit. It's about 3 or 4 minutes. 哎，范总，我们先上车啊，因为我们要进到我们这个。对，您先啊。So here we go. It's a large base, and also hopefully on the road, like. Full Talk will be kindly enough to also see a little bit, pan a little bit for that we can see a little bit more out from the windows. I need to find where is my seatbelt. Here we go. Always put your seatbelt on. Drive safe. So, 范总啊，就是您是什么时候开始来到这个项目的？
我是这个去年8月份。最早接触光伏是17年的12月份。
So I just asked Mr. Fan because Mr. Fan has not always been here. He was born and raised up here in Inner Mongolia, but not always be on this project. I just asked him when he joined this team, and he told me last August that was back in 2021. But Mr. Fan has a really deep experience with the new energy and especially solar energies. And he just told me that the first time that he started to get involved into solar energy was back in 2017 and 2018. 那个项目其实也是个很大规模的项目，对不对？
对，当时是一个5万的山地光伏。
5万这个电，
当时就是3700亩地。
3700亩，5万的发电是
光伏。
山
地光伏。当时是在陆地来说算一个大项目了。17年、18年的时候，但是咱们这个一直就是新能源这一块都是一个快速发展的过程。所以说到现在，你就5万显得小了一点。现在这边咱们是22万嘛。
22万瓦还是那个
22万千瓦。
22万千瓦5万千瓦。
对，5万千瓦，这边是22万千瓦。
Okay, so I'm going to translate a little bit. Mr. Fan just shared his first experience with solar energies back in 2017 and 2018, and it was a project on the mountains. It was back then a pretty large solar farm on mountainous terrains, and the capacity was 5万千瓦. I'm going to do the math here. 5万千瓦, 50,000 kilowatts. That's the electricity generation capacity that a solar farm can handle. And it was a big project back in 5 years ago. But now, the solar farm that we just saw, it is just a section of this big base here in the desert, and the capacity is 220,000 kilowatts. And that's a lot of jump. It's like 4 to 6 times compared to 5 years ago. And we have arrived here at the entrance into the solar farm. Let's hop off the car and have our helmet on. We need to wear these helmets into these farms. And also one for my full talk. It would take me a hard minute to really wear this helmet. Here we go. Here we go. So, all prepared and protected. And we are heading into the solar farm. Are you excited? Of course, if you have any questions, just ask us. And I will try to answer these questions. And perhaps the experts that are with us today can also answer some of those questions. And before we enter into the solar farm, I need to introduce another guest. The man who constructed this solar farm. And from China City Construction, we have Yu Haowei. So say hi to our viewers.
Hello.
Great. So let's work and we'll talk about further to learn more about this solar farm. So basically, China State Constructions helped China General Nuclear construct a majority of the solar farms here. And actually, Mr. Yu, you also get into the new energy fields when you were pretty young, actually. Would you mind to share with us about your experience in terms of building up like new energy bases, wind or solar? 其实讲到于总啊，就是您其实接触到新能源，您一毕业就在新能源这种领域里面嘛啊，能简单介绍几个就是之前您可能除了我们的光伏项目，这个光伏项目有其他的一些项目也有接触到新能源吗？
其实我参加工作的是第一个项目是在那个徐州的青山泉，当时是全国最大的一个地面20兆瓦的项目。
也是个光伏，
对，也是光伏啊。然后最近的这段时间，除了光伏以外，公司还做了一些就是海上风电，对，加上这个陆上风电这种。
徐州是什么时候的事？
徐州是09年年末。
啊，09年。So basically, Mr. Yu just told me back in 2009 he got involved in his first new energy project. It was back in Xuzhou in East China, and it was also a solar farm on the ground. 20兆瓦，
对，
就是2万千瓦。So the capacity of that farm back in Xuzhou was 200,000 kilowatt in terms of the capacity. So we can see we are now inside of this farm, and these are the poles and the solar panels. Can we actually look closer to these solar panels? 我们可以看有不同规格的这个太阳能板，对吗？
对，因为这个啥呢？这个是因为咱们中广核呢，就是从这个17年、18年，就是建这个光伏电站的时候呢，应用的这个都是当时咱们国际上来说都是一些先进的技术。包括我们的这个支架也好，主架也好，像主架，它都是这个双面双波。还有这个单晶硅，还有这个抑制节，还有这个平单轴，就是可以旋转的。
OK，
这些好多的先进的技术都直接应用在这个光伏上。
So Mr. Fan just told us like how advanced the technology that we're seeing here. So we can see this is a taller pole, and as we walk into the solar farm, we're all going to see the shorter poles with a different kind of solar panel. And one thing that is quite interesting, all these solar panels are just like sunflowers. They track the path of the sun, and they follow the sun. They can move, they can tilt and pan, and then move as the sun moves. And hopefully that we can let our viewers to see the wheel, the solar trackers. 我们看一下那个轴。If we can catch it on the camera. Here we go. So that's the machine. That's the mechanism to kind of moves all the poles to allow the solar panels to face the sun. And there is a solar tracker installed to connect it with this mechanism, so that it can improve the efficiency of these solar farms. 因为讲到其实我们现在是能够单轴这样移动的嘛，其实也是为了提升我们的发电量、发电效率，就有个转化率。现在是个什么概念呢？
转换效率就是当时咱们这个中广核这一块呢，是当时国际上来说啊，整体的这个当时那个阶段是达到这个17%以上。这
是什么时候？是开始
18年的时候就达到那个时候就可以允许并网，允许这个项目投产。我们当时采购的是最先进的，达到23%以上，%就全部投到这上面了。
So basically, speaking of solar farms, speaking of a lot of other new energy sources today on this planet, there is a conversion rate. So basically, the panels will harvest the sun exposure and convert a portion of the energy into electricity and also send it to households across China. So the conversion rate for the panels that are installed here today that we are seeing is over 20%. 23%.
23%以上。
So it's above 23% of a conversion rate of these panels. But here in China, for all other kinds of solar farms, if they want to produce electricity and also get onto the China's national super grid to send it to households, the conversion rate needs to be at least 70% or above. 因为于总啊讲到我们在沙漠里面建光伏嘛，那边我们看到有很多沙丘，但这边我们看到已经很平坦了。这也是当时我们做了很多的这种基建的动作吗？
我给您介绍一下，就是其实我们在进场施工的前期，第一步工作就是要做这个场平，做这个场平，场平的这个工作量，因为当时现场的风沙也很大啊，今天的天气风沙也很大，对，我们的沙丘啊，在场平过一次以后，它是会移动的，所以在场平的过程当中是需要不断的。有这样的一个机械的来回啊，去把这个场平做到我们技术设计要求的这个坡度。当时我们这个项目的这个设计的这个值，就是场平的这个坡度值是不超过15度啊，因为咱们用的是这个跟踪器嘛。对，跟踪器对于它的坡度的限制是有要求的。咱们在南北向这个角度是要保证基本上是水平的，在东西向这个角度是要有不超过15度的坡度。
东向就和太阳这一角度是不会超过15度。
东西向啊，这东西两边有坡啊。
So basically, I just asked Mr. Yu, who is from China State Construction, who built the parts of these solar farms, about previously that we showed our viewers the desert far away. We can see the curves of the beautiful sand-adorned dorms, but right here is pretty flat. And Mr. Yu just told us that the first thing they entered here to install these solar solar poles, they need to actually level the ground first. They're going to have huge excavators that I saw yesterday when I first came here, and they need to do it over and over again to make it flat, no more than 15 degrees compared to the ground level. And especially in order for the solar tracker to work, to really move the solar panels, move while as the sun moves. And also, Mr. Yu said, and I think right now our viewers can also hear the wind noise. Here in the desert is always windy, sandy, and it's quite a hard labor, to be honest, and it's pretty dry. And they need to, once they level the ground, they might need to rework it because of the wind will kind of hoard more sand into the place where they level first. 但是讲到其实我们投入了这么多的人力啊，或者说是机械和科技要去做一个在沙漠里建光伏啊，就它这意义在于什么呢？它这个重要的意义是什么？
达拉特这个项目当时是定义为全国领跑者光伏项目基地。其实它是多种能源经济或者是经济性互补的一种项目就是咱们可能现在看到的表象是就是说林立很多的光伏板但其实它下面是可以做相应的种植的对，我们可以这个项目里边有别的元素在里边，就是我们有这个植被的种植，经济作物的种植。甚至我们这个项目旁边还有园区里边还有一个养殖的牛场，对，就是畜牧业的一种互补，再加上就是我们项目这个光伏项目覆盖沙漠以后，导致了我们沙漠的这个雨水的蒸发量减少，减少的非常明显就是我们自己也完成了这个当时项目的定义嘛，就是我们这个治沙的一个这个功能。
So I just asked Mr. Yu the reasons behind this large-scale project. Mr. Yu said that so for this base, it has a name. It's called the Leader Solar Farm base. So Leader is leading in a lot of areas first, building desert. These large-scale solar farms in a desert. First, of course, to produce clean energy, green energy. But then a very important aspect to this solar farm and also mentioned earlier during the live stream, is about sand control. To control desertification in this place in Inner Mongolia. And we can see grass and plants on the ground. And before 5 years ago, they weren't here because of it's dry, it's sand, it's desert. And then they installed all these solar panels. It somewhat helped to reinforce the locals' efforts to build up its granaries and to expand its ecosystem. And it's a circular economic mold. So basically people can, because of these solar panels, they somewhat covered part of the sun exposure and it allowed the ground to not evaporate that much of water. And now it's okay to grow something. And I've just learned since I came here, and they're going to like plant herbs, traditional Chinese medicines, and actually right behind us we have a cow farm. So basically the grass, the plant base can feed cows. 但又讲到，其实内蒙在这样子沙滩里面，沙漠里面去建光伏，它其实它的这个资源是很优质的，对吗？就是它这个光资源是非常的，相对来说其实是相对良好的，对吗？
内蒙的光照资源在全国的是排在前面的。对，然后这边建光伏项目呢，它的那个发电量，其实在全国是数一数二的。对。
So basically, I just asked you about the sun exposure, the solar energy, the solar resources here in this plant. It's actually one of the best places. Speaking of like Inner Mongolia, Inner Mongolia used to be known for its coals. It has one of the largest coal reserves here in China. But speaking of the sun exposures, the cloud right now is covering us, but we were baked out. They were waiting for this live stream just about half an hour ago. Weather changes very fast, but sun exposure here amount to over 3,000 hours. If I remember correctly, for the average sun exposure on this land is about 3,108 hours per year on average. So that's a lot. That means like 1/3 of the years, considering there will be nightfalls. So 1/3 of the years, this place is exposed to the sun. Yeah, I think my math is correct. 那么讲到，其实现在规模已经比较大了嘛，那之后还会有继续的扩建吗？
这个后续肯定是一个快车道了，只要是这个根据国家的这个统筹的一个安排吧。完了之后，只要因为这个治沙现在有个成效嘛，然后国家也看到这个成果了，然后后续可能要连续的这种开发。
所以现在是快车道。
快车道现在。
但是讲到，其实我们像光伏能源这边，是否像这么大的一个光伏的基地，能够也推进更多的这种光伏的发电去到我们的老百姓家里呢？
这个是确实到了，因为这个不管是光伏、风电、火电、水电，对吧？这个它这个电还是就是上到这个电网上，然后分配到这个老百姓，分配到各个企业用电，这个是能到得了的。
So, Mr. You just told us, and there will definitely be future expansions of these solar farms, and right now it is on a fast track because people around here have seen the results from coming out of this for solar farms, not just producing green energies, but also to help local environment for its sand control efforts. And again, for the solar energies produced here on this farm, it can also get onto China's super ultra voltage grid. So it will reach like thousands meters away from this place to households around China. And look over there, that's the ultra high voltage grid here in China. So it's all over China. And China has the ambition to create the world's largest super grid. And it's not just super big, it's not super huge, it's also smart. And China, I believe, a lot of people would consider China is the first country to really kind of incorporate internet, information, and energy all together to create a smart grid. And that effort is also aiming to really kind of facilitate to better utilize green energies and new energies, because a lot of people might know this. For wind energy, solar energy, or even hydropower, they're intermittent. What does it mean? It means, for example, the sun is gone right now, so all the solar panels right here, they're still working, but they're not working at its full capacity. And that means at this moment, the electricity it's generating will be not as much as, for example, during the noon when the sun is right above them. So solar energy, wind energy, and hydropowers are intermittent, and that's very important to know that. And China's efforts to have that smart grid, to have that super grid, that ultra high voltage grid, is to actually to transport all the electricity generated from here and to reach households fast, so that it will not lose as much as it's on the way to reach households. So right behind us, we're entering another section of these solar farms. It's shorter, so these are tall, and we have shorter solar panels installed over there. 就为什么我们有高有低啊？就有高的这个，也有低的。
这个高的下面，因为当时都是一个治沙项目嘛，高的下面更多的种植一些比这个灌木，就是类似于灌木稍微高一点的这些有经济价值的一些作物。低的下面就是完全就是低矮的这个灌木了。黄芩啊啥的，就是
草药什么的，
种草药这边饲料就是，
所以根据植物的高低，然后其实这个光伏的安装也可以有高低。
对，这个是没啥问题。
So I just asked Mr. Fan, who's in charge of the solar farms from China, General Nuclear, why we're seeing tall solar panels, tall poles and short ones. And Mr. Fan told us because they want to grow something underneath that. For those bushes that are taller, for those things that can be feeds to cows or whatnot, which are taller, so they're going to have the taller poles to install the solar panels on top of it. And for solar panels right here, it's shorter, so it's mainly just for like grass and for herbs, Chinese traditional medicines. And for the solar panels here, let's have a closer look at the solar panels. Another thing I just learned about having solar farms here in the desert is in the desert, the sun can also be a medium for diffused reflections. 就讲到，其实我们在沙漠还有一个慢反射的这个过程，对吗？
对。
这个慢反射是怎么理解啊？
慢反射就是太阳光，一个是直辐射，正面直辐射，一个就是太阳光那个空气中那个散射。你看背板也是这个啥吗？
也是可以吸收
反射光，然后放到背板上，它也可以提高10%以上的转换效率的。发电量不是转换效率，是发电量。
Okay. So Mr. Fan just told us. So for the panels, what we're seeing here, so these are also solar panels, but it catches diffused reflections from the sun, and it also can convert. The conversion rate for this panel is also like 10%, and of course on the surface is above 23%. So basically, all around these panels, it can somewhat catch the sun exposure to generate electricity. 这个管是用来做什么的呀？
这个管就是你看这个黄芩这个中药材，往远了看，你看这种的，现在花凋谢了嘛，那个紫色的那个花，这种的小浓一点的。都是就是浇灌这个，一个是这个中药材，再一个就其他的草籽绿化这个沙漠嘛，就是黄沙变金沙嘛。对，这个，
所以它是灌溉系统。
灌溉性的这个，
So basically, these are look at this. I thought this was like wires, electric wires, but then actually it's a sprinkler. So a sprinkler to have like waters for the grass, for the plantations growing here. 但它这个洒水是自动的呢，还是人工进行的？
这个基本上算是自动的，就是分片区，一片区的设置的这个时间点。前4个小时一块， 后4个小时一块，再后面4个小时一块，循环的这种。在一个夏季，就是冰雪融化的这个季节里面，春夏秋这3季在交替的这个循环。
So basically, these sprinklers are programmed to irrigate the plants when it needs waters. And look at all these flowers. I think 这个是那个
这个是黄芪。
黄芪啊。
对。
So is it kind of Chinese herb? 黄芪能干什么呀？
这个是中药材嘛，这个属于补品吧。
Okay. So that's Chinese herbs. It has a little purple flower. It's actually pretty. And for other grasses, is basically a lot of other plantations usually found here in a desert, like desert willow or so plants. 就我们其实就比如说像这个灌溉这个系统嘛，它也需要电，还有包括像我们一个摆臂不是也需要电吗？
对，
这些电其实就光伏直接生成的电就直接能用了，是吗？
对，就是这样的。在上网之前，先井着这些满足了这些之后，余电上网嘛。是这么个情况。
So look, I also asked Mr. Fan about the sprinklers. It uses electricity, and for the solar trackers, it uses electricity, and basically the electricity really comes right from this farm. It generates the electricity and powers a lot of machineries here. Previously, we showed our viewers the mechanisms to move solar panels around to face the sun right above, and this is a similar mechanism on this like shorter poles. So it looks like a clock, and it's wired to a solar tracker installed very far away from us. But this is basically the wheel, and it moves, and this will move around the poles, and to let the solar panels to always face the sun. Or not always face the sun, but face more towards the sun. Just look at the scale of this solar farm. 就讲到，其实我们国家在光伏产业是在世界是领先的嘛。但是现在是不是还有一些困难需要去解决，才能让光伏发电更有效，或者是能够甚至是有一天取代我们相对传统的有一些污染的一些能源呢？
这个是这样，就是光伏发电其实它所谓的光伏嘛，就是只有太阳的时候它才会就是发出它的能量。那现在但是呢，它属于一种不是太稳定的电源。它的每天的处理曲线是一个正弦波的上半周期。这样的话就会导致一些西北地区，就像咱们内蒙这儿，电网可能不太稳定的情况下，会对电网做一个冲击。但是现在国家呢出台了一些政策，就为了扶持新能源项目，会让我们新开发的一些新能源项目配置上一些储能。包括电网侧现在也在开发一些抽水蓄能的项目。然后缓解这种因为这个大功率的波动造成对电网造成影响的这种情况。
So we just asked both of our experts today with this, like, what's the biggest challenge ahead for solar energies to be further utilized here in China? And again, it's because of its intermittent, and sometimes it will the high voltage difference of the electricity it generates is not what it is. It will create a huge impact on China's national grid, and that's a effort. The national grid has to work out its ways, and of course, the country has been working with a lot of other parties. Oh, I'm sorry, I just got some sand in my nose. Because all the companies work together to find the solutions to really kind of maintain the level of electricity generated. And Mr. Yu just said one thing very important is about its reserve system or the battery system, so that it can first can somewhat charge the electricity generated from the solar panels into a battery to a storage facility, and before send all the electricity captured from the sun into the national grid and to reach households. So it will help to preserve the life expectancies of the Chinese grid, the national grid. 那么我其实也知道，现在有很多储能有很多那个，就是比如说光电啊和风电或者和水电的结合，这个是否也是一个解决办法，能够相对互补一点啊？
现在其实多能互补是国家能源规划的重要战略部署不是单单的纯说，比如说我这个地方开发一个光伏项目，或者说单纯一个风电，它一定是多种能源进行互补的。除了刚才讲的那个。以电化学的方式把能源进行储集以外，现在内蒙地区还有储氢，就是对我们多余不用的，用不了的这些新能源的这些发出来的电，我还可以制成这个另一种这种能量的方式，比如说我把它制成氢气，液态氢，然后我把这液态氢运送到别的地方去，进行另一种能源的转化。
Okay, so I asked Mr. Yu about because right here in China, what we're seeing here is just a solar farm, but of course across China there will be a combination of hydropowers with solar powers and solar powers with wind powers. I just asked Mr. Yu why is the move, and Mr. Yu said it's of course for a lot of cases there will be a combination of more than one new energy sources, and then Mr. Yu also shared something more interesting than my question. I think it's about I mentioned about the battery system, the storage system to really help to store electricity generated from solar energies to kind of help to kind of counter the effects of it being intermittent, so it will make it safer to be on the Chinese national grid. And Mr. Yu said there will be another solution is about to harness the electricity unused from the solar farms to actually, or other new energy sources, to actually create hydrogen, liquefied hydrogen, so that it can be used for elsewhere. I don't know the chemistry or the physics in this. I'm not trying to delve more into that section, but just to point it out and share it with our viewers, the energy from new energies, the electricity generated from new energies can be very useful to not just light up the bulbs in households across China, but also creating something new, and to something further our technological exploration of human beings. And thank you so much for joining us on this windy day with all the flies and the sand. And thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. But before I wrap this up, I have something to say about what I've been witnessing during the past 2 days. So I've always wanted to visit a solar farm, since I became a reporter. But being a reporter, being a journalist for 10 years, finally I can see the solar farms. And I can see the scale is huge, it's gigantic. But also I can see the future of new energy of this country lies right here. Thinking about this, 20 years ago when I was a kid, when I was in elementary school, so solar energy was mainly used to heat up waters. So a lot of people in my neighborhood, they're going to have this kind of a solar thermal system installed on their rooftop so that they can collect the heat from the solar energy and to heat up water. So we have hot water from the solar system. And now we can use electricity generated from solar farms. And not here just in China. When I was doing my research, and I also learned, and there will be new technological advancement, and there is a new system invented by a European scientist. So it's a household solar panel system, and it literally looks like a sunflower. It's tiny, and it can create the sufficient electricity for a household for the annual usage of electricity, and it's clean. It can be more affordable. But of course, the machine installed to households can be just to purchase that machine can be very expensive. It's like $20,000 to $30,000 US. Pretty hefty price tag for a solar panel system. But we can see in the future that when the price drops, the cost of creating and maintenance of these solar farms drops, and it's definitely can save humanity from its energy crisis. And right now in China, new energy accounts for over 1/3 of the country's electricity generation. And for all the new energies, it comes from different parts of the country. For example, hydropower is more prevalent in southwest China, and for solar, it's more popular. Or is more often seen, for example, here in Inner Mongolia or in Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region. And then for wind power is always along the east coastal cities. So definitely we can see huge efforts done from this country to find sustainability in its economy and in its energy supplies. And thanks for watching. Hopefully that our viewers learned something from this and found this very interesting. And stay tuned, and hopefully that I can bring you more mega projects like this and constructions like this in the future. And thanks for watching.